Yeah, thank you very much, Amy. Nice to be here, everybody from the Netherlands. By the way, I'm just back from Brussels, where we won Innovation Award of the Year yesterday with our robots. So this is great. So I'm very happy man today and happy to share you some very nice technology. So let's see if I can manage to go to the next page. Yes. Okay. So a short introduction. Who's Gausium Robotics? Well, it's a startup from 2013. It started with two engineers, and now it's a global market leader in cleaning service robotics with over 1,000 employees. With our own development of soft and hardware and the global distribution network. So leading with our first-class advanced visual LiDAR SLAM navigation technology. I will not go into details too much, but this is the most outstanding way of navigating for a robot. Deployed in thousands of facilities across sectors and industries actually around the world today already. But the largest assortment of cleaning robots in the market today as well. We have about 12 different robots, including a Vacuum 40, which we will show you on the second one from the left here, is a vacuum robot. Scrubber 50, the one in the middle, where I will tell you some secrets of today. The Scrubber 75, a very big scrubber dryer. And the Sweeper 111 you see here on the left is a professional big sweeper for indoor and outdoor use. And X more and more. The X1, by the way, is a delivery robot that's not on the picture, but we will introduce this soon. And actually in May in the Interclean, we will introduce another line of robots. But let's move on to the 50. I will show you some very nice developments we made. Our last innovation solution, we call it, is the 50 Pro, as we call it, professional version of this. It's a totally new revolutionary cleaning robot. And I love to tell you why this is so revolutionary. Because the innovation value is very high of this robot. If you can see here, I hope you can see my cursor, on the nose of the robot, there's a special camera. We call it RGB camera. And this enables the robot to detect stains and debris on the floor. Based on artificial intelligence, together with the SLAM technology we already are using, and the vision that we are already using, we can now see the stains on the floor and concentrate on them. So this means the robot doesn't have to clean all of the floor, but a very compact robot like this one can only also patrol in the area and focus on the stains. And when he sees a stain, he will remove it. But he doesn't clean the whole floor. Of course, you can do this if you want this. Let's say on the end of the day, you can use the robot to clean everything, but you don't deliberately have to do this. So this is one of the things that are now, this is very new to the market, and we are the only one that's actually offering this. Besides, of course, a service station or a working station, as we like to call it, but automatically refreshes the water. So the water comes in here, the dirty water, the drain water goes out there, the batteries are charged at this station, and this way you can have a 24/7 autonomous cleaning in your building. So it's very revolutionary. And of course, we are GDPR proof, and we have for Europe the CE, and we also are working on American CEs. So we have a very cleaning orientated pragmatic minimalism robot here. We can also work with magnetic brushes, with pads, also with diamond pads, or with cylindrical brushes, depending on the situation, the floor type you want to clean, or the circumstances. And you see here also some mops and some dust mops, and microfiber mops, because this robot can do all of it. So let's show you the next one. A positive impact. What does I mean? The positive disruptor in the market. Because of the improved productivity with an optional working station, this can, of course, save you lots of time. Reducing human intervention, and can also be connected to elevators. This means the robot can really call the elevator based on cloud-to-cloud connection, and the elevator will come down, let the robot in, and go up to the 2nd or the 30th floor, do his thing there, do his job, and go back to his service station. So extensive applications like dry mopping, like damp mopping, like with microfiber, and wet scrubber drying. So cloud connectivity with IoT integration, so you can connect to other apps or other integrations. So you can, for example, have the system we just saw in the speaker before me. We can perhaps integrate this to each other, and then you can also have the robot as a task integrated in the cleaning plan. And it's integratable with external cleaning programs and devices. And this all can happen real time. And also it's real time is the task reports. The task reports will be created directly. So you have directly a vision on your smartwatch or on your phone or your tablet. And of course, you will get directly a report after the task is done by the robot. So let's move on. Practically, of course, it's still cleaning, so it has to be practical. So it has a hassle-free mapping. And mapping means every robot first has to make a map before it can know where it is. Well, this robot can do this very, very easily and very quick, about 3,000 square meters in an hour. Dynamic path planning. This means that it can even work in the most dynamic situations, like in supermarkets or in hospitals, where there are lots of people, children, carts, movements. It still can work very good. It has an intuitive display and is a very user-friendly app how to move it. 2 brush options, as I already mentioned, disc brushes here, you can see it better now, or the cylindrical brushes here. You have to make a choice, of course. And user-friendly magnetic click-on brushes. So these brushes you can very easily click on, click off. And also the squeegees here you see at the back, they are taken off without any tools. So it's very easy to exchange them. So a very friendly user machine for the user, for the operator, like as we like to call the person that works with the robots. It has about 23 sensors. That's why it's so reliable and so very, very safe, because in fact, it's more safe than human beings, because we human beings, of course, and I one myself, can be distracted. And this robot with 23 sensors, well, the chance that it will miss something is very, very, very low. And of course, what is reliable also is the software and the 24/7 support, because cleaning has to go on. Sustainability is also a hot topic inside our manufacturing. So durable, easily recyclable materials, like a lot of stainless steel or PET plastics that you can recycle. Energy efficient path planning. So you don't have to use that much energy of the batteries and you don't have to use that much water. And built-in water recycling system that can reduce the water up to 70%. In other words, the machine can reuse the water several times. You cannot do this everywhere, not in the hospital, for instance, but you can do this in open spaces, shopping malls, etc. You can do this without having the need to have the robot going back and forward to any service station. So it can stay out for a little bit longer. And of course, it's creating new jobs, not only on our side, but also, of course, in technology. So it's going on. So let's go, what is else very special about this robot? Well, it's very profitable. The cost efficiency for a short return on investment is a very interesting picture. Let's say, because I get this question a lot, between 6 months and let's say 1.5 years. And of course, this depends totally on the situation and the frequency and the hourly rate of the people that are now scrubber drying. But this robot is not made to replace people. No, it's made to make people more efficient. So it's helping actually, that solves the lack of cleaners. Because globally, we are in the demographic situation where the age between 15 and 65, this group of people, that is working population, as we like to call it, is declining rapidly. So robots can take over parts of their job. I mean, assist them so they can be more efficient. So we still need all the cleaners we have. Only the robots makes their life a little bit easier and make it doable to perform their job. So extended uptime by large capacity batteries, lifetime free software updates. So no special arrangement or fees that you have to keep on paying. This, as long as you use the robot, we will give you the free lifetime software updates. And of course, many options to personalize your robot. As you can see here, orange, I like this, of course, as a Dutch guy, but black and white and blue, whatever you like. And here, by the way, in the middle is a picture of how the robot also can do mopping, damp mopping or dry mopping. So let's move on. Let's show you a little video of how the robot works when it's patrolling around and only focusing on the stains. So let me start the video. Okay, so the robot now is detecting the floor. I hope you can see it. Here's a stain on the floor. It goes very quickly. There's another stain there in the middle. Just cleaning the stain, and then it moves on to the next one. This is more clear here. So it's seeing with the cameras, it's seeing where the stains is. With the artificial intelligence on board, it knows what is the stain and what is the sticker. So it doesn't clean the stickers or it will not try to clean, let's say, an empty bottle. It will only really clean the fluid stains that are on the floor. So this way, the robot can be much more efficient and use less water, less energy. And here's how it looks like when you are a robot. So the robot looks like this with cameras, of course. This is our vision. And he detects the places that are on the floor that should not be, and he identifies them as a stain or as debris. And when he knows what it is, he does the action. Of course, when it's an empty bottle, for example, he will just move around it because this robot is not capable of removing an empty bottle, but we have other robots that can do that. So this is a nice view of how this robot works. I hope it was to do for you to follow this. Oh, sorry, yes, this always happens. I always have to click twice for this. Okay, sorry. Yeah, well, that was my picture. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. So now we'll start opening it up into our question and answer period. We've got some experts here that have helped integrate technology into many of their customers' enterprise. So feel free to ask your questions. Just use the Q&A button on the bottom of the screen and then ask your questions. First off, to Aspire, Tabitha, or Chris, how can technology make employees more accountable?
Yeah, thank you. By having technology to help track your performance, you can then, schedule efficiency, track your workloads, your hours, your time, and the tasks that your team's completing. And with all of the employees utilizing one platform, they're going to be more accountable for their projects and their other initiatives, but the managers will have the visibility and the understanding to actually hold them accountable.
Perfect. And a follow-up to that, Tabitha, we hear people don't want the big brother approach. They don't want to be, know where everyone is every time. How do you kind of combat that with some of the technology advancements?
Yeah, with some of the technology advancements and, understanding that as a company, you're all trying to succeed together. So when I'm talking to other employees that are implementing, I explain it to the people in the field that this is not just to track your performance. This is also to have a good understanding of what you might need in the future to make your job easier as well.
Perfect. Peter, you brought it up in your presentation, but I want to take some time. I think one of the things frontline labor individuals think first when they hear any type of robotic program is they won't need me anymore. So I just want to spend a little bit more time and just make sure how you respond to,
yes,
robots are not trying to take everyone's cleaning jobs.
Absolutely. Actually, thank you for this question. It's exactly the opposite, actually. But this is, I like to talk about this. I also had a discussion some months ago when I was in Las Vegas with some guys from the union, because people don't really understand what the meaning of the robots is. It's actually just a tool that will help you to make make you more efficient. For example, about 50 years ago, when the personal computer was entered into the United States, there was a job loss of 3.5 million people, but it gained about 15,700,000 jobs. So, if you in balance, it created about 12,300,000 jobs. So all the things that had to do with IT, with personal computers and apps and software, etc., created many, many, many jobs. And this is actually going on for many, many years. Technology is always creating more jobs actually than it will solve. And in this case, actually, we are in a totally different time. Now, that's what I just tried to explain. The demographic situation, the people, the working population between 15 and 65 is rapidly declining when you look at it at the global scale. So the global population is still, of course, rising and growing, but the people that work are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So we have a problem also in the US, but also in Europe, in other parts of the world, except about 2-3 places like India, where you don't have this, in Africa, and some parts of the northern part of Canada, you also don't have this problem. But all the other areas, they have the problem. They cannot find enough workers to do the cleaning or other jobs, service jobs, Horeca, everywhere. It's a fight to get people. So the robots can make you more efficient, can help you actually to stay in your job and be able to perform your job in a more efficient way. So it frees time. It doesn't take anyone's job. It frees your time, but your job content, that's changing. Like we do a lot of things different today than we did, let's say, in 1980. For example, 18% of the jobs that are today, 18% that not exist in 1980. If you think about this, you know, like content manager or marketing online manager, all those kinds of jobs, we never heard of them before. And it's still growing and growing. So it's more about, you know, how to use it the right way and how can we make our cleaners and our service people, you know, be more efficient. This is actually what it's all about.
Tabitha, you just kind of mentioned, you know, some of this software, some of these technology advancements aren't necessarily to kind of track, but rather make sure that they've got the tools and the equipment they need. Can you talk a little bit about how technology can be used for products and for making sure, I'm losing my words here for a second, sorry, for supply inventory and product?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, that's the goal, is to give the teams in the field the tools that they need, as well as, you know, the managers that might be creating the estimates. So Aspire is a solution that's allowing for accurate estimates that can then in turn allow you to know how many supplies are needed and utilized. So that's easily identifiable. You know, it's allowing for time entry to allow companies to track the staff hours of how long it's going to be completing their jobs. Again, I kind of turn it back as one of the questions that I got most when I was more in the field of a manager of the service industry, is you didn't estimate enough times. Well, really by empowering the teams to have a tracking device of how long they're spending on times, then I can estimate accurately that next time going forward. So having that one operating system tie it all back together with all of the job costings as a company, you can then also see your profit margins based on, you know, a particular account or a particular job.
Perfect. Peter, we've got a question about what is the programming time or setup time for the Scrub 50?
Well, that's a good question, but also very hard question to tell, because in each building, in each situation is different. But the good news is it's really rapidly quick. I'm now selling robots for 8 years, and if I tell you that 8 years ago we did about 1,000 square meters one day, today we're able to do in most best of circumstances, of course. So it's not always this case, about 3,000 square meters in an hour. So this is a totally different story. So it's actually very simple. You walk with the robot in an area, the robot scans the area and the walls and everything, all the objects inside automatically with a LiDAR of 25 or 100 meters range. And the robot builds up a map, very accurate, like an architect is drawing, with his pencil, very fine lines. The robot will do this for you. And once you have done this, you can actually choose by several flexible tools like real-time autocover, where the robot will automatically make his own plan, make his own path when something is obstructing the robot. So he'll drive around it and will come back at places that were occupied before, and it looks if it's already free, and clean it afterwards. And you can also have teach and follow. So just go with the robot exactly as you want the robot to go. And you press on save, on store, and the robot will exactly copy you. So there are several tools we can use, but the installation time is reduced dramatically. So it's very interesting to do this, and you are not installing for days or weeks like in 8 years ago. You're only installing for, let's say, from half an hour to several hours in the normal situation. Again, depending on what you have. If you have a sports hall or you have a complicated supermarket. Supermarkets take a little bit longer, but the sports hall is, of course, very easy.
This next question is probably for both of you, Tabitha and Peter and Chris, if you want to add in on this. Integrating technology into a workforce that might not be technologically savvy or might not be comfortable with technology, what would you say some of the best practices are you've seen about, bringing new technology into the workforce with different levels of technology aptitude?
T, you first or Chris?
Sure, I can answer first. When you're thinking
Okay,
about,
ladies first.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about technology and bringing it into a workforce that might not be used to it, it does have a lot to do with your transformational change, not just the change of how it's going to affect them and a new learning curve, but what does that look like in the future when you're thinking of your company's growth and success in 5 years and 10 years? What do you want to be as an employee? How do you want to grow together? So I think that approaching it positively to your team members is really important to let them see the benefit of the, not just for them right now, but for them in the future and the industry as a whole.
Okay, nicely put. And if I might add to this, that we always try to have the expectation management. It sounds a little bit formal, but this is exactly what's very important. So when you are talking about a robot or you're thinking about having a robot in a building, we always try to involve the cleaners that are there. And actually we're promoting them from cleaner to operator. But of course, there are some people that really don't like technology, but once they saw the robot and they know how it works, I can have a very nice example. It was a big stadium, a football stadium, had lots of square meters to clean. And these people didn't really like the robot at first because they were not involved. The robot was suddenly there because they want to save some hours. But then there were some problems in the beginning because even somebody tried to sabotage the robot, but everything went well. Yes, well, that happened, to be honest. But the funny thing was, 1 year later, and this really happened, I got a phone call, I had to come, and they were sound angry. So I was, oh, there's a tension, there's a problem going on. So I was going there, driving there. I was prepared for everything. And then I was really happy when they say, well, welcome, this is the birthday of the robot. We gave him a name. His name was Dirk, by the way. And they had a candle, one candle, and I had to blow out the candle, and they were very happy with the robot. But first they didn't like it because they didn't really know what to expect and what it really was. And now they found out it's actually nothing more than a tool that makes your job a little bit easier. Then they accept it much more easier. And integrating it in the daily cleaning programs, this is actually the step we are busy right now to try to help cleaning companies and FM companies how to integrate this in their daily business. Because once you integrated it also in the software of your planning systems, then of course it's going to become very normal. So people are not really looking very strange when there says robot cleans the first floor. And this, of course, is a matter of timing.
Perfect. And kind of a follow-up question to that is, what should our attendees today expect from their vendor, from the technology vendor, as they kind of implement new technology?
So to who are you asking this?
Either one of you can answer.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, Chris, you can go. Yeah.
Sure, I can answer this one
Okay.
first. For us, I think you can expect a lot. We're a very customer service driven company here, and we have great implementation team to make sure that you're using the technology properly. And then we also dedicate a customer success manager for you moving forward as well. They'll be checking in on you to ensure that you are using the technology properly, and that if you do have any questions, we can help answer that. And we also have a customer care support as well. So we look at it as for you to get the most value out of our product, you have to know how to use it. And so that's why we're here to help you do that.
Yes, it's on our side, it's very similar. We have only another name for it. We call it customer success department. So we have a large department that is only doing acting on customer support and customer success. Besides, we have our technology guys that are doing the technical support, like something is broken or has to be replaced. And then we have the success team, and we have, of course, the account managers. Plus, we have the partners globally that we have trained all, and they also give local support. So local people that speak the local language, have the local culture and the local interest. So this works for us. This works best. And actually, it's a little bit the same. And but we are actually moving on every day. So every day, this is going to be better and better, because let's be honest, robotics in the cleaning industry is just a few percent of the total. So we are actually a new development, a new way of cleaning. So this is growing and growing, and every week, every month, there's more success stories to tell. And how about to integrate the robots on a successful way? So we're really working very hard on this and try to share this with other companies. So we learn together in this.
Perfect. We have another question for you, Peter, more on the operations. How long does the device's battery last, and how many square feet does it cover?
Well, depending on which type of robot, of course, but the robot that's behind me here can do about 2 hours, 2.5 hours cleaning, and it needs about several hours to also, of course, charge the batteries after this. And it can do between, let's say, 900, 950 and 1,200 square meters in an hour. Sorry, I don't know this in the feet because I know it's different in America. I'm always confused, so I stay with my safe meters. But it really depends. For example, just give you a short example. If you have a supermarket with a lot of curves, and a lot of aisles, so it has to turn a lot, and has to bend a lot, and turn a lot, and turn a lot. Of course, it's less efficient than you have an open sports hall where they play basketball or something, or you have 2-3 basketball fields next to each other. Then, of course, the robot is very efficient. It can go on this high speed, and it doesn't have to make so many turns. So everything goes better and faster. So it depends also on the situation. So if I don't know who asked the question, but we always are happy to come and to see, on the site what we are talking about. We always do this. We call a site check. So we will never advise a robot without having seen the building. So then we can have a better understanding and a better estimated time of the battery and the robots and how long it will take, or we just do a test and we will see, and we can see it exactly.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Tabitha, this is probably a question for you. Somebody's just asking, the software capability for Aspire, is that on PCs, and can it be utilized for commercial and residential service?
Yeah, so our software is best suited for any device that's 10.5 inches or larger. So it can be on a computer. It could also be on a tablet. For the field mobile device, it could be available on a Google Android or an Apple app for what the cleaners would see in the field. We are primarily in the commercial side of things, but we certainly have residential customers as well. So if you're interested, we'd love to set up that solutions overview to see, if we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us going forward.
Perfect. And just a follow up from that, when we're talking about commercial, would this be applicable to both, building service contractors and in-house teams, this software?
Primarily probably building service contractors.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. And Peter, a few questions for you on if you have distribution in the United States, and if it's direct, if you sell direct or have distributors.
Yes, of course. Without them, we cannot do this, of course. Like I told you, we have partnerships globally, so around the world, so also in the US and in Canada. And we're now actually building up south of America also as well. But it's best to answer this question if I know who's the questioner. I don't know how we organize this, but then we can have a more precise answer, because we also like to give the best connection, or geographically, or sometimes in a sector, depending on who's asking. So it's somebody like, let's say, from the heavy industry, we have sometimes another partner than if it's somebody from institutional or hospital. Because some of our partners are specialized in this area, the others are in the other area. But sometimes it's the same, depending on the country or the state where you're in. So we love to answer this question, of course, more precise. Yeah.
We have contact information for
Okay.
that. Another question for Aspire. Can you talk about how a software solution would need to scale, especially for like a growing workforce or new locations or growing budget, and how you can manage projects?
Yeah, so when you're thinking about scalability, it can be from a lot of perspectives. You might need a solution that's going to be mobile, that you're going to be able to add, more accounts, jobs, tasks as you're growing, perhaps even new business locations, in which Aspire accommodates, what we consider a branch district, kind of roll up to allow you to accommodate if you're growing regionally. You also need to think, once you're adding all of that additional information into your software, is it going to continue to be reliable as it grows and tracks, more businesses and estimates and your staff and your cost? And finally, I would say when you're thinking about scalability, what about the specialized needs that are going to come up on the project basis? So those are 3 of the areas I would think about when you're thinking of choosing a software that's a full business management system.
Perfect. Another question for Peter. Peter, the fight against COVID has been kind of the primary focus over the last few years. How can the cleaning robots play a role in the fight against COVID or any future?
Okay, well, when I talk about the Western side of the world, so the side where we because there's a difference in the Asian part of the world, we can also have direct disinfection with a robot, because they have different kinds of rules and different kinds of use of disinfectants. In the Western side of the world, so let's say Europe, US, Australia, you cannot use certain disinfectants, but there the robot has another task, it's a very important one, and that is freeing time so you can do the disinfection or the precise cleaning, let's say for top services or doorknobs or anything else, or the washing room, to clean it more often, not once a day, but twice a day. But you need time for this. And because the robot can do all the floor care for you, so you don't have to just mop the floor or damp mop or scrub the floor anymore, you save hours a day. And these hours can then be used to have a better and higher standard of hygiene. Disinfection or not, or just very good cleaning, because I'm still a big fan of good cleaning and not of disinfecting everything, but this is my opinion, because most of the time it doesn't bring that much. But the opinions are of course different. But this is actually what the robot can do for you. It will free a lot of time, so you have more time for other tasks that are more important in the hygiene sector.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
A question for Aspire on when you are looking at what should you compare when you're looking at different software programs on the market, and how does Aspire different from some of those other software programs?
Yeah, I think that kind of also goes back to the scalability. What is your company's goals? What are you looking for? Are you trying to grow quickly in the future? I think that that's where you start. As far as comparing different platforms, I would think back to that wheel of Aspire that Chris kind of showed during the presentation earlier is, we're a platform that's bringing all of your operations into one system. And that's our biggest differentiator. We were built in the landscaping industry on job costing and visibility. And there's definitely room in the janitorial world as well for the same sort of, kind of control of your cost, understanding where you're making money, where you're not making money. So I think, understanding your company goals is important of what solution you want to go to. There's other solutions out there for sure, but a lot of them are the individual features. There might be site audit functionality, there might be estimating, there might be scheduling, but is it all going to be linked together? And if it's not linked together, what does that look like when you grow $2 million in revenue? Is it still going to be easy to have those solutions not talking?
Peter, a question for you. What are some of the core tech strengths of your cleaning robots?
Well, there's a lot of them, so I will try to minor them down. First of all, is the easy way to use it. So they're user-friendly. I hate the word actually, but it is that describes it best. So it's very easy to use a robot. Because the word robot gives you some fear sometimes because it's technology, but it's like your laptop. You don't have to understand exactly how it works, as long as you know how you have to work with it. So this is where we are very strong at. And then the flexibility, especially in dynamic and ever-changing spaces and areas. This is where we really set ourselves away from the rest of the market. Because a lot of robots, they can do some easy buildings where the infrastructure is very easy, but we actually made ourselves a little bit, we gave some more efforts in making it possible to also clean very dynamic and changing environments with a lot of movements and people and cars. And for example, we also have a robot that can clean parking garages. but that is able to measure the speed of the cars that are around him, so he can adapt to this and adjust his behavior to it. So it's technology that actually is redefining the cleaning. This is the way also what we like to explain how it works. And we are way ahead of the market when it comes to flexibility and technology and abilities to adapt to the environment. And it's a lot of big words, but I always say you have to see it for yourself. Just put a robot on the floor and he will prove, or it will prove, because it's not a he or she, it will prove itself, and you can see for yourself how it works.
Perfect. And this question is probably for both companies, but with operators and frontline staff having a higher turnover in some of the cleaning industry roles, what about ongoing training or onboarding a new employee using some of the technology? What kind of support or advice would you give to our audience members?
Chris, or you want first?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll go ahead and step in. So on the Aspire side, he had mentioned earlier about our implementation process and our Aspire care team. In addition to that, we have a really robust user guide and a knowledge-based system with videos of training. So, there's a lot of resources that you can share with your new team members. We try to make the mobile device pretty simplistic for the cleaners out in the field. So, it's not going to be a lot of extra paperwork. It's really just to try to get rid of that paper trail and to have the visibility and the geofencing while your teams are there. And you also have a customer success manager. So any questions that you have, you could reach out to that Aspire care team as well.
Not much to add to that. It's a customer success team and the implementation team, as we like to call it. So when we have a first time, when we use the robots, of course, there must be a training, because it's easy, but still you have to do instructions, of course, so people know what to expect. So again, here's the expectation management comes back, especially when people don't know what they really have to expect from a robot. So what can it do, what can it not do? And of course, there are manuals, there are videos, there are complete training schedules. We do a lot of training. We do a lot of translations, actually, in all kinds of languages. You cannot name it, or we have it. And this is an ongoing process, because the abilities of the robots is also changing. So every year we have to be careful that we don't make too much changes. This is more our challenge than we don't have enough innovations. Sometimes we have so many that we say, okay, just let's stop this and wait until half a year and then put it on the robot again. So, and of course we have to keep on training the people. But the nice thing is that we are so close to our customers and with our success team, that we can very quickly see where the need is, and we try to translate this in a technical solution. And this is actually a great way to work. So our customers are actually helping us to develop the robot to go to a higher level.